What would you say to 2020 if it was a person?
That's a great question.
Oh man.
Oof.
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 In all seriousness, I would say
Thanks again for finding time for us and doing this interview. So why don't we start with a proper introduction?
Yeah, so I'm Martin Károly, a filmmaker from Hungary. These are 17 filmmakers from all around the world. This is the story of 2020. What goals and plans you had for 2020?
2020 was going to be a really nice year, full of travels around Europe and also some bigger projects.
The goals I had for 2020 was to make my first feature, and that was to make my film Mickey Hardaway.
To film about 2 short films.
Do a film called The Nostalgic Dance.
To travel the entire Pakistan. I wanted to excel my skills in my drone flying.
I plan to shoot way more music videos, more projects.
Actually, I started my company at 2019 and it was going really well. Obviously, I had huge plans for 2020.
It was like a flower bloom, so I was quite happy.
I feel like everyone sort of had this idea that 2020 was going to be their year. It's like such a perfect number. It's 2020.
I was so sure that this is gonna be my year. I'm graduating, I'm full of energy, and I'm gonna conquer the world or something.
2019, 31st of December, New Year's Eve. Knowing what the future holds for me makes me excited. I start working in a job that I really wanted in January. With the job, I can fund my own projects. Firstly, to pay for the post-production of the Yemen documentary. My goal is to find and hire an editor, finish post-production, find distribution, and release the film in 2020. And what happened with those, with Corona?
Very beginning of 2020, I was working on a few projects for a series that my team's developing. I produced an episode and I directed an episode.
I ended my first short film, then I was like, oh, what can I do next? Then I started to write my next screenplay, and I was obviously thinking like, I will do this film.
In February, we did a 48-hour film fest, but we made one for Duluth, Minnesota, and we won Best in the City and then got invited out to Rotterdam for the film festival.
We were super excited and we kind of had a feeling that the rest of the year was going to be like this and we would just be in production all year, right? It was sort of setting like, the tone for the whole year.
I was very excited to start filming it in March, end of March, and I won a grant for it. Like that was the first time I've won money to make my own project.
We actually had financing in place. We had the budget at $900,000.
I had the entire crew ready.
Everything was going great and going fine. We were getting ready to shoot. Right around March, everything just went to hell when
Corona hit.
COVID hit.
COVID hit.
COVID hit.
It was from one day to another, it just changed.
I
don't know if there's like a way to really like mentally prepare for something like this.
And I think that the hardest part about it was having no control, where you don't know if you're going to come out or what's going to happen. You can't see your future.
Oh, man, it was a disaster. I couldn't process anything.
Everyone was scared initially. Let's put it that way. I was scared too.
And then I was just all in a panic.
It struck everyone. So it struck every business.
And this industry took a very bad hit.
Kind of just had to put everything on hold.
Our investors backed out.
And then eventually the show got shut down.
It was really kind of devastating. That was the only thing I had.
And I lost my project that I worked so hard. I lost the money.
At first, I was crying. Finding out that it wasn't gonna happen just like crushed me.
Editing that film got the film postponed. All of my other work kind of got postponed.
Say there was also a music video shoot in LA, and then that had to be canceled as well.
I had a shoot, a music video I had to refund.
I had like 3 that went down.
Lots of losses.
I kind of lost my job.
Yeah, of course, I lost my job in a film.
I think 3 of us were unemployed at the time.
Initially, I thought I lost my job completely.
Everything, all the building that you did in the past years came down in a second.
And then I was stuck with nothing.
I'm locked in my room, can't go outside. I do everything in my room. Working, training, chilling, socializing. My hard-earned position has vanished, so I'm not able to afford the post-production of Yemen. It feels like losing everything. I'm back to one. I can't go forward in my project. With that lie, I feed my self-pity. With each day, I become less motivated to do productive stuff. Depression is pushing down on me. My thoughts, I need noise. Do not hear them at all times. After some weeks, I just spend my time with just spending time. Feels like I'm no longer on the path of realizing my dreams. I literally do nothing. Nothing at all. My behavior in this situation makes me realize something. I've become somebody who only creates when he's happy. Somebody who fears to do a project alone because it's too challenging. Somebody who only creates when the circumstances are right. Somebody who can't see he has everything needed to finish it. I deny and refuse that person.
I guess to some degree, it's made it worthwhile to some degree to be able to go through this, because now I found a producer who I know no matter what will stick in and through with me. So now I feel 1,000% more comfortable going forward with the films. I feel like artistically, I've taken everything that was bad and made it good into my work.
I was so bored of just being isolated, and I'm an extrovert. So I wanted to meet other filmmakers and learn more about the craft. So I was like, whatever, like, I don't care. I'm just gonna try to like start a film podcast.
I started to talk with the other directors through internet. And that's when I met Anna and Donova.
The great thing about this time was a lot of filmmakers were at their homes too, not doing anything. So I got to interview like a lot of my own role models, which was really exciting.
And she was also like, yes, I don't know what I'm going to do also because of the COVID. And then I said to her, let's make a film together then. If I didn't look to my surroundings, I would not have this project with her.
Yeah, it depends on the way you see it. You can see it like, oh, my project just went down, or might be new things coming, you know?
COVID technically got me the highest viewed music video I've ever made. So they essentially wanted to make a music video with all these restrictions that were happening. And they said, okay, who do we know who is a great cinematographer, has his own gear, lives with his girlfriend? And then they were like, Adam?
Right now, by the end of 2020, there's been like another kind of projects emerging, like a little bit more thoughtful, maybe like online sort of things. Films like where actors film themselves at home.
I made a Zoom film, and it was a comedy film about a family Zoom call going wrong on Christmas.
Crazy how quick people have been able to adapt, but the film industry in general probably got, because you're not going to be making like House of Cards or The Queen's Gambit, but you can't just push that all to the crew's apartments and be like, well, we'll just use this guy's apartment.
The feature that I've been working on, along with a few other projects, I've been working on them for about 3 years now. So of course I was frustrated. When am I going to finish these projects? Because sometimes, you know, you give yourself excuses of why you can't finish things, but when you have all the time in the world and nothing else to do, you kind of have to finish those projects, you know?
Because editing is probably my least favorite. And so it was like, oh, great. You know, like we have to be inside. This is going to force me to edit projects. I finally got done with my sister's wedding video after like 2 years. I hate editing wedding videos.
Long story short, this whole year, allowed myself and my team to finish our feature film, if I could take anything away from this year, it would be that I had the opportunity to sit down and, no excuses, finish those projects.
I had time to do some videos. I even won on one video contest. And I shot my first short film. We had to change director of photography, and it still was very hard because, we had to deal with all this COVID compliance.
I had finished a film that was ready to be edited, and that got postponed a good couple months. I had a really bad laptop and Premiere Pro crashing all the time, and it was definitely stressful.
And everyone just pushing me, we're doing this, what you can.
But it's done now, so can breathe. Can breathe.
I just couldn't be more happy about this. This 3 days one was one of the best 3 days in my life.
It's kind of Corona that's brought me into full-time filmmaking.
This is the first year I actually started film.
My whole filmmaker career started in 2020, actually.
We're sitting at home. What else are we gonna do?
I'm a single mom. If I want to spend time with my kid, I cannot find extra time.
I'm 45. I've been kind of writing a science fiction story for about 15, 20 years now. If I want this to happen, I need to take some proactive steps to make this happen. And I'm like, I've got time, I've got opportunity.
Really wasn't anything to lose, nothing's happening, the world's kind of stopped.
And it was like just perfect time for me. I decided to start learning filmmaking and building my portfolio earlier.
I've always loved watching film. I always loved crafting stories. It was like, you got to follow your dreams. You got to do this. So then I made my goals for 2020 to make my first film.
I'm going to do this, to make a feature-length film in a year.
I'll take that question, are you ready, and kind of make it into a film in my own interpretation. So I made a psychological thriller.
It was somebody's birthday, I think. And, we had a sound designer, we had a few actors, we had a writer at the table. We got a conversation going that was just kind of hypothetical about we should film something.
So then it became my goal to get that film into a festival, and I ended up getting it into the Venice Short Film Awards out in LA.
Talking and figuring out I think actually this is something doable. We just dove in and we just started writing, but we'll see. We're all kind of new at this, so we're navigating with caution, but we're still pressing forward.
The process was learn how to use a proper cine camera and how to use a professional level editing software. I tried doing my first green screen as well, which was disastrous, but I kind of tried to make it work. So just with each project, I'm just pushing the skill level up and trying to do something that I couldn't do before.
I learned a lot of new things in filmmaking, and I read so many things. I read articles for days about how do you distribute, how do you be a producer? What does a producer do?
So I start editing Yemen and enjoy every minute of it. Thanks to the editing process, I completely rethink the whole story and make drastic changes to the concept I had for it. If somebody else edited it based on the notes I had for it, it might have turned out to be a much worse film. By the end of 2020, I have the director's draft and the trailer done. This is not how I had 2020 planned. But in some ways, it was worth it. What would you say to 2020 if it was a person?
I would say 2020, first of all, go fuck yourself. I hope that you die.
Fuck off.
Not very nice things.
Horrible.
You were a cruel mistress.
If 2020 was a person, I think he'd be riddled with bullet holes by now.
I didn't expect you to come around at this point in my life, Mr. 2020.
Like, dude, seriously, like, why?
Just why?
Man, why?
Why'd you do this? Who hurt you?
I just don't understand it, but I'm not mad.
In all seriousness, I would say thank you. Like, I really would. I personally feel very thankful.
And even though the world would have been better off without you there in the first place.
I've come to say that I'm grateful for you.
It was a rough year, but it taught us a lot.
I think that year was much needed. You know, I may not have wanted it. I probably didn't want it, but it was much needed.
I think in some way, all we needed was to stop a little bit and think about our lives.
Other times we're always busy running around doing like little jobs. And so you don't have time to just like focus on what you want to do.
You pushed me to kind of realize what I needed to do. I can't help but be grateful for the opportunities that arose because of you.
He's the boss who made you quit a job that you didn't really like just to get away from him, and you ended up finding the job that you love.
Say thank you for showing me patience and allowing me opportunities that I don't think I ever would have had.
2020 was the year of writing down your goals, having patience, and like growing as a human. Discover what kind of filmmaker do you want to be.
I just realized that you have to just go forward, and you don't have to say that every year is going to be your year, you know.
That's a wise saying, yeah.
Not expecting too much is really a good thing. Then everything good that happens is, like Bob Ross was saying, happy little accident.
More than a person, I see 2020 like a test for so many areas of everyone's life.
You showed us what life is, and life is rough, life is hard.
I think the biggest lesson is just to take the lessons, you know, and just hold on to them.
We will overcome it. I think people in general will recover.
That's human nature. I think people figure things out as they go.
We'll figure out. That's what filmmakers do.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get back to creating, and I can't wait to see other creatives get back to creating as well.
Like, we are creative people, you know, and so we should create.
Exactly.
As a creative, you can't do anything else. You won't be happy.
There's a habit in this that we can't get rid of.
Like, you could have either coronavirus or you could have like any other sort of problem, you know, like those are the things that you cannot control, and it's gonna carry on happening even after coronavirus.
That's the thing, you can't do anything about the negatives of this. It's outside of your control. You can't do it. So look for the positives that are there.
Yeah.
If you're alive and you've made it this far, I think just don't waste your time and take advantage of everything that you have.
Just trying to turn your limitations into possibilities.
So if it's like passion projects, if it's trying new skills, just use that to keep the fire burning.
Just do what you're doing. I feel if you're pushing yourself, if you have the strength of will, you can be successful even in a years like 2020.
All it really takes is a camera, a vision, and you can always make it happen no matter what. No matter how tough the situation is, there's always a way.
I'm still going to release a feature film this year. Nothing is going to stop me doing that. Virus, I don't care, whatever. I'll find a way. If I have to film it differently, if I have to have everybody in the room one at a time instead of all at once or whatever, I'll find a way.
Trust in our job because it's something that is amazing. It's not something that everyone does, maybe because you have to break your balls sometimes.
Life is a blessing, and now we know this more than ever, right? What stories can you tell if you're not living a good story, a good life, you know?
Be patient and like, it's gonna pass. Just be careful, it's gonna pass. Just create and just create for yourself, and that's all I can say.
Just keep doing what we do and keep doing, and we'll get there.
Definitely the weirdest year I've ever experienced in my life, but it probably means something, you know.
It's something that no one's ever gonna forget. We are gonna live to tell this to our, you know, children and our family members that I survived a pandemic.
I will come out of this very strong, and nothing will ever scare me or make me feel less challenged as I did this year.
I'm preparing myself for 2029 to help Sarah Connor and protect John Connor from Skynet. So that's basically where I'm at right now.
Taught me a lot, but I don't want to go through that again.
And I'm ready to let you go.
Thank you very much for everything, but it's time to move on.
See ya.
Farewell.
Don't come back.
2020, goodbye. Hello, 2021. Let's get after it.